Mhm. I'm doing great. I'm not as good as you. You got a nice fresh cut there, buddy, in a really hot weather in Portugal. It's hot everywhere, but I wish I could have somebody shave my head right now.
It is hot right here, I gotta say. And yeah, I had to go bold. Not
Yeah,
completely. And I did promise people. Sorry, I can hear myself.
yeah.
No, sorry. I did promise people that I would go bold if we won the World Cup. So yeah. I gotta
Well,
say that one.
yeah. Yeah, you might need to say that again if your mic is actually off because, people got to hear that. I still don't know what the definition of bold is. Does that mean go bald? Or does it
No,
mean...
go bold is saying the right thing and saying it with confidence, okay? Like,
Okay,
when you go
okay.
bold, like I went with Minch, that's an example. When I remember
Right.
you asking me, like, is he worth 20 million at the time,
Mm.
Minch? And no can do, 40 million was the minimal, okay? But can you hear us okay now? People in the chat on YouTube, World Cup talk.
Oh. Let's
But-
go. I'll tell you what, man. I think I know what the definition of go bold is because I don't do it often. You calling De Ligt to Bayern, that actually getting done, that's bold. You calling Lewandowski going to Barcelona, that's bold as well. So I hear you. I'm still trying to process why De Ligt would leave Juventus to go to Bayern when Serie A is one of the most exciting league races. Is it really just money?
It's money, and because he'll become an absolute legend at Bayern. Like, let's be honest, you got Neuer at the back teaching you where to be. You have De Ligt. You have Nagelsmann, a young coach that has a chip on his shoulder, man. Nagelsmann got embarrassed by Villarreal, and Bayern have to go bold in the Champions League next season, especially with Sadio Mane going. But there's a debate with Lewandowski going. They definitely lose firepower. But this is a whole other bolder topic. And yes, the Wonderkids in the World Cup. FC Wonderkid. We do know about our Wonderkids, don't we, Breton? So
We do.
let's start with Group A, okay?
do it.
Just have Group A here with Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and the Netherlands. And who's the first Wonderkid you want to shout?
Well, I'm going to start with probably the favorite in Group A because it's got to be in the defense for me. It's got to be in the defense. And I'll tell you, a lot of people, since he's moved over to Manchester United, since he's gotten a couple runouts and friendlies, I know that most recent friendly for United, I guess that was against Crystal Palace. That was very pleasing to the eye to many, many people. But I gotta shout out Tyrell Malaysia, 22-year-old left back. I have a feeling that if the Netherlands are going to go far, it's going to be because their defense is incredibly solid. And obviously, you could shout out any number of players here. Obviously, the one we mentioned at the top of this, De Ligt. But Tyrell Malaysia, being able to get forward on the left, being able to get forward into offense, as well as solidifying that defense is going to be massive. First, he has to lock down a starting spot. And that is going to require him getting off to a really, really hot start, at United. And that means he has to beat Luke Shaw out for a starting 11. Do you think he can? That's the question. Do you think he can?
In prime, if both are at peak, Luke Shaw's better than Malaysia. But for Luke Shaw to be at the top, a bit of competition helps. And that's why I think Malaysia was brought in by Erik ten Hag. He improves the whole squad. You know what I mean? Just having that 1-2, that competition, as I said. So I love that shout, okay? Because Malaysia is a player that will improve with his transfer. And I'm going to say another player that is on the move and of Netherlands. And we mentioned De Ligt first going to Bayern. But another player went to Bayern too. And that was Gravenberch. That I gotta say, Bayern went extremely bold. 1-year contract. I know, 20 million, that's why. It makes sense, I see. And the money that Bayern are spending in two players, De Ligt and Gravenberch. 90 million, 100 million. Come on, that is going to be bold in the future. And I'm very excited for what's to come because I think their form will translate to the national team. So that is a very exciting prospect, and I gotta shout out Gravenberch going to Bayern. So
and that move is probably necessary. I mean, that is technically seen. It is a massive step up from his duties in the center midfield at Ajax. And for him to take that next step, same with Malaysia going to Manchester United. And I know there's jokes in there about Manchester United not being Champions League and this and that. But for him to take that next part of that internal competition, same with Gravenberch. If Gravenberch goes into this season and he doesn't play a lick for Bayern, then we're not talking about Gravenberch, except maybe as a fringe hold down the midfield type player late in the games, Group A games. But I'm with you. He either steps up, puts up, or shuts up, right? And that's going to be pretty interesting.
You're going to have Kimmich, Musiala, and Gravenberch. Like, the counterattacks of Bayern Munich next season will be lethal in the Nagelsmann style of play, man. So I'm excited. But I'm going to mention another team. Like, Netherlands, let's be honest. Yes, they are the best team, but Senegal is bold, okay? Not in the Wonderkids front, okay? They got Koulibaly, Sadio Mane. People don't hate on us with that one. But I gotta mention Ecuador. Because on a Wonderkids front, they are a national team to definitely watch. I said in the past, next World Cup, I think they will go bolder. And I gotta shout out a player that I fully, just like, if there's a Premier League that we will do breakout players for next season, I will put this player too there. And that is Moises Kaiseru, that I fully believe he will be big for Ecuador this World Cup. The maestro in midfield, and Hincapie, man. The leader at the back that is young, but is definitely has the talent to lead Ecuador from the back. So these two, just learning, okay, being the sponge. And for the next World Cup that... in the States, man, they gotta go bold. So,
I mean, I'm 100% with you. I think I've been, and I'd like a little credit here, Alex. Moises Kaiseru is a guy that I've been following since he made the move. I thought it was an absolute coup that Brighton got him. I also thought it was a slap in the face when they sent him on loan to Beerschot. A team in the Pro League that couldn't win a game to save its life, and then immediately was recalled back from that. Not immediately, a whole lot later than it should have been done. So I am immensely excited, and also for this new season for Kaiseru, but I'm also a little bit worried for the pressure that will be put on his shoulder too. The hype train has started, right? The hype train has started with Kaiseru, and people are getting on, and they're getting on in loads. And I'm a little worried what that is going to do for him long term. He's either, again, going to step his game up to another level to the point where he leads Ecuador in Qatar, or he falters. And I think you're 100% right. I think he is going to be one of the breakout kids of the Premier League season. And I really am here for it if that happens. And it's the same going with Hincapie. So I love those two shouts from Ecuador. In fact, you took mine. From Ecuador. So I'll go back to Senegal. And while Senegal might be short on Wonderkids, short term, meaning on the plane to Qatar, we do know one is going to be there probably right now. If he's there, he's going to be there as a depth piece. And that's it, right? And that's Pape Matar Sarr, who is 19 years old, who plays now for Spurs. He's in his first preseason with Antonio Conte. He likely will go out on loan again. We're not entirely sure. He could. You think he plays?
I think.
And that's the thing. If he plays, and he impresses, you might see him fighting with Bouna Sarr, with Idrissa Gueye, with Nampalys Mendy in that midfield for Senegal. But obviously, he's not one that's at the top of the list like a Malaysia, a De Ligt, a Timber, a Gravenberch, a Kaiseru. So it'll be really, really interesting to see what he does. But he is definitely somebody, if you're looking for people to really attach a horse to at the beginning of this new Premier League season that's so close, I I would definitely keep Saar in the back of your mind.
Love it, love it. And people, we are talking about the World Cup Wonderkids to watch. Group A, now switching to Group B. And if you're enjoying, do not forget to like this video and put in the comment section. Yes, please check out Kvisha. Come on, unbelievable dribbler. Gondeta Barca. Gondeta Barca, Brett. And Chelsea, Barca. Oh, they want us cracking up about it.
Hey. Oh, you saw what Julian Nagelsmann said, right?
Yeah, I did.
He is just as skeptical as I am. It's like Monopoly money. We're playing with Monopoly money. You get a center back. You get a striker. You get a whatever. Whatever.
So yes, put down below, people, the Wonderkids that you know in the World Cup are gonna go bold. And if you go per group just like us, we appreciate it and love that you're going bold. So yes, now group.
Now I was gonna say we're simple people, so put the group in front of it so we know what you're referring to.
I love it. So Group B. So with England, Iran, US, and Wales, and come on, the floor is yours, Bretton.
The floor is mine. Okay. Well, first off, the way I looked at it through this Group B lens was what players could be, what U23 players or Wonderkids could be most important to their squad. So this has nothing to do with who is the best Wonderkid out of Group B. Okay. So obviously for the US team, you're going to have a whole bunch of players. Why? Because the whole flippin' team is under the age of 23 for the most part. They are the youngest team going to this World Cup, assuming they don't all grow in age 15 years over the next 4 months. Right. So with England, it's about who do you think is going to earn Southgate's trust to where he is on the pitch and he serves that role and he does what he needs to do to where you can't take him off the field. And I honestly, I don't know how you pick between Bellingham, between Foden, and I'm going to throw out a really, really odd one, man. I'm going to say right now, based on last season, nobody was expecting me to say this name. But I like what I have seen so far from Jayden Sancho in the preseason for Manchester United. Yes. And I have liked what I've seen in the limited moments we've seen him in training. I like his excitement, his chip on the shoulder. He's excited to get back out there and reinstate the Manchester United name. So I am going to say watch Jayden Sancho as a dark horse Wonderkid that winds up really making an impact for England. But if we're going to go for who plays the most, it's going to be either Foden or Bellingham, and I'm going to pick Bellingham that plays the most and asserts his kind of amazing mentality, this elite mentality on the entire English team in some respects, not lead the way. But he is a leader at his young age, and it really is impressive. And I've said this many, many times until I'm blue in the face. But I think Jude Bellingham is going to play the most, and he's going to have the biggest impact for England at the World Cup coming up. But seriously, watch out for Jayden Sancho. Saying it.
You went through a lot of points, and I love it. I love it that you're mentioning the boy, the legend in the making at United, Jayden Sancho, okay? And I agree with you. With Erik ten Hag, he will go bolder next season, and he will translate that form to the World Cup, I believe, with England. So I believe that's an excellent shout. And yes, Jude Bellingham, I have to say this. Everyone is about to go bold next season, next summer, for Jude Bellingham, man. I don't know what's the price right now for Jude Bellingham, but it's gonna go bold. United, City, Liverpool, Real Madrid, every single team in the world will want Jude Bellingham. So I'm more than excited. But sticking to the World Cup on England, I'm just going to shout two players. I'm going to shout out Foden, okay? I remember seeing Foden in the Under-17 World Cup and saying, this kid is so special. I wouldn't be surprised if it would be this World Cup that he would get England with his backpack and go bold and get that World Cup in his locker. If that happens, that would be Foden going bold at the world stage. That can happen. Okay. But players that give guarantees more for England, gotta say Mason Mount. I think Mount will be instrumental for what's gonna happen. I know it's not a Wonderkid, but a youngster, people. And the other player is Saka. Saka for me is that player that he's a hero, man. He has those hero call moments, and expect the unexpected with Saka. I gotta say, man, it's a pity that we don't see Bukayo Saka playing Champions League football, man. This kid deserves it. The goal involvements, the talent he has on his feet, man. It's such a pity. Hopefully we will start seeing him in the Champions League, but he has a World Cup, man. So that can be the stage that we all remember Saka from then on. And yeah, these are my beginning highlights from England, man. Wonderkids. But US? I thought you were going to mention one of the best dribblers you've ever seen for the US, no?
I know. Who are we talking about? Yunus Musa? Just kidding.
Well,
just kidding.
Oh,
No.
Jorena, my guy. Jorena.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Everything. Hey. Borussia Dortmund knows how to get my blood pumping. They posted a picture online today of Gio Reyna out at training, getting ready to go, and I am excited to see what he could do at a World Cup. But here's the reality. Here's the reality. He's been out 7 months, 8 months, right? Really, he had one competitive game, and then he got injured again, okay? Mm-hmm. So I have to slow my roll on Gio Reyna's impact until we really see him making a move. But yes, I'm excited for what he could bring if he doesn't get injured again. Mm-hmm. If we're talking about the United States, though, if we're talking about the lens that I saw England through in terms of who's going to play and who's going to make the biggest difference, and I'm actually sticking to Wonderkid instead of just young player.
Okay.
I am going to say Yunus Musa simply because his versatility, his ability to cover, not versatility as in he can play right back and play striker, but he can play on the wings if he needs to. He's not going to. But he is that engine that really complements McKennie. It complements Adams. It complements just a whole lot of what the U.S. is going to do. And it's incredibly progressive. Okay. And that's going to be important to getting results in a World Cup group stage where everything matters, right? Okay. True. It's unlikely you're going to go through the group stage going, 3 wins, 0 losses. Okay.
This group is unlikely. This is going to be
yeah, there's going to be what we call cannibalization in this group for sure. But I think Yunus Musa could have a massively outsized impact. And if you watched him last year, he wasn't perfect for Valencia. But he did a lot of heavy lifting for Valencia throughout the year. And I think he is in a very unique situation. Former Arsenal guy, jumped across the pond. True. Not the pond. He jumped across to the Iberian Peninsula. He's made his mark. And I'm just immensely excited to see what he can do, especially if you extrapolate on that midfield and you add McKennie, you add Adams, you add Pulisic, you add Aronson. There's just a lot of hype that I'm trying not to get so sucked into. Be realistic, but the Wonderkids will be there, will be front and center, and it's more going to be in the midfield that is absolutely insanely key. Though the true thing, and then I'll shut up, I'll stop talking. The true worry we have is who is going to be our number 9. Is it going to be Ricardo Pepi? I don't know. That's a Wonderkid to watch. It's all going to hinge upon the beginning of his season, what he can do with Augsburg the beginning of the year. He got his first preseason goal. Great. It was a tap-in. What are we going to do to build upon that and get him so that he's razor-sharp mentality-wise heading into what is going to be a very, very tough group? So, I think we're going to spend a whole lot more on the Wonderkids of the USA moving forward. So I wanted to make sure, did you pick one for Wales?
Yes, I
because
did.
Wales
Nico Williams. Nico Williams for me is a player that instant impact, as a youngster, and he will improve. So, yeah, for Wales, I feel like Nico Williams is the best shout to do, in my opinion. But just sticking with Musa, it's unbelievable, man. He was playing for England before, right? Born in New York. And Arsenal Academy all of a sudden makes a decision to go to Valencia of all places and plays there. Man, this career, I'm very curious, and I can't wait to see more and where he goes after Valencia. So yes, people, put down below your thoughts about Group B and Fabio to Liverpool Spartan. We understand, man. We'll talk about Fabio Carvalho maybe, okay?
One second, because I got a Wales pick. A Wales pick, and I also have somebody you have to watch for Iran. And I'll be very quick about it. The Wales pick, Nico Williams, phenomenal pick. I'm excited. First off, Nottingham Forest is spending, I don't know, like £100 billion on these players, and they brought Nico Williams in from Liverpool. So I'll be really interested to see him on the left, and then they got a new right back as well. Or him on the right? What? I'm getting confused here. But there's a lot of new change for Forest. But if you're talking about Nottingham Forest, right, which Nico Williams just joined, you have to throw out Brennan Johnson, who is one of the largest reasons Nottingham Forest is even in the Premier League right now for the first time in a very long time. Yep. So Brennan Johnson, while he hasn't yet solidified a starting role, like I believe Nico had, Brennan Johnson is going to be a super sub, or he might even make his way into that 11 at some point, and him interchanging and working with Gareth Bale, with an Aaron Ramsey, with Harry Wilson. It's going to be a pretty interesting World Cup for him, and I'm excited to see that. But I also have to bring up Iran, and I'll be really quick. Iran is a winger that has been talked about for 4 or 5 years now, okay? And he was injured for 2 years in between there, and it looks like he might actually jump to a league outside of Iran. Why do we not know a lot about the Iranian national team? Because a lot of the players stay within Iran, right? The Persian Gulf League and others. So we know Azmoun and we know Taremi. Why? Because they made jumps elsewhere, okay? True. So when it comes down to it, there is a couple players in there, and they're both wingers/forwards. You've got Sayad Manesh, who actually plays in, he's 21-year-old. He plays at Hull City. They have a new Turkish owner that went buying a bunch of Turkish and Gulf players. Hasn't quite gotten on yet. He hasn't quite scored a bunch of goals or anything like that. But this year could be his year that he then breaks into the Iranian national team because of that and becomes more of a presence. And then there's also Hussein Zadah. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his last name, but he's 21. He's a winger, and he's the one that might be making the leap to the Belgian Pro League. Got to mention him because while Azmoun and Taremi are going to be the focal points, these two guys could sneak in there, and Iran has always had phenomenal defenses, okay? It's all about what they can actually create in the offense that might get them out of Group B. Well, and if they can't create on the offense, beyond Azmoun, beyond Taremi, or set either of those two gentlemen up, it's going to be tough going for Iran long-term, at least from, these Wonderkids and their impacts. So I just had to bring that up.
I love that mention about the defense of Iran. And I agree with you, but a big reason why Iran was so good in defense was their coach, Carlos Queiroz, okay? That he goes bold with those defensive tactics. And Alex Ferguson said himself that as an assistant coach for Man United, that man knew ball, Carlos Queiroz, in the MLS plan too. So, yeah, put down below, people. Wonderkids, Group B and Group A, your thoughts, and go bold about them. And yes, let's get to C, Group C with Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. And I'm going to start by shouting out the Polish, okay, Zalewski from Roma, okay. For me, this player, I love him at left wing back. How he goes into the middle, how he goes deep on the wing. That decision making, the Mourinho. He's not always keen on the Wonderkids and youngsters, but with a kid that knows positioning, he loves. And Zalewski has such awareness on the pitch, man, on where to be, that it's great to see. And the other player is Kasper Kozlowski, okay? I gotta mention him. In the Euros, he's one of the youngest. And in the World Cup, he'll be one of the youngest too. And Kasper Kozlowski's got the quality on his feet. And two bold Polish youngsters to watch, in my opinion, people. So
Kozlowski, man, part of that beautiful, beautiful Brighton transfer policy. I love it so. But Nicolas Zalewski, I mean, that's a great shout. And he's early days, man. I mean, he became virtually undroppable for Roma as they went through the Conference League and won the title and ended the Serie A season. So he is really early days in terms of kicking on and showing what he's capable of. He played as wingback, I believe, in some of the Nations League games for Poland. But I believe his only start, only full 90 minutes. They went toe-to-toe with the Dutch in the Netherlands, and he registered an assist. So if you can't tell already, I'm 100% in the same corner of Zalewski having an outsized impact. Zalewski, for Poland. But I really would like to see Jacob Moder get back on his feet. It's one that when we talked about this 3, 4, 5 months ago before the full draw, or right around the draw, he was one of those players that he hadn't gotten injured yet. He's another Brighton player and one that I am very, very high on, and hopefully he comes back even better than before. But there is one other player for Poland that is not he's not a Wonderkid per se. He is about, it seems, to leave the Russian Premier League. He's going to likely wind up, I think it's Feyenoord that he's likely signing for, and it is a player that has been a mainstay for them for a little while, and it's Sebastian Zuzmanski. He's going to be absolutely massive for Poland any way you cut it. He has been for some time now. If you want to reduce the load on Robert Lewandowski in any capacity, you're going to need Zuzmanski firing on all cylinders. So I needed to bring him up as well. So you want me to move on to Mexico?
That's the team that, like, it's always Lainez. And I'll be completely honest. The U.S. is going bolder in terms of Wonderkids in football than Mexico currently. And I wasn't used to seeing that. So, what's popping?
Well, I got one player for you, and he happens to be a Mexican-American who chose Mexico over America.
Arsenal?
No. This is Marcelo Flores, though, just made a loan move to Real Oviedo.
I like that.
Yeah, we're going to be watching him play in Spain, and that'll be a whole bit of fun. Whether or not he's on the plane to Qatar, I don't know. But the shout I got to make is a guy that I'm a little bit bummed is not part of our setup, but we have Serginho Dest, we have Joe Scally, we've got any number of right backs. But Julian Araujo is a wonderful, wonderful player. I think he's just starting to kick on. I think he needs to make the move from the Los Angeles Galaxy and needs to go abroad, but that once you become part of the Mexican setup, I guess that's not really part of the DNA of a Mexican player anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't seen many major moves beyond Mexico as of late, but Araujo has gotten so much better defensively, and he's a terror. He's a terror on offense. And I believe that right back spot for Mexico is wide open over the next 4 months for taking. And I think Julian Araujo can make it his own if he so chooses, although he's going to be going up against another kid, Omar Campos. I believe he plays on the right. He might play on the left. But another fullback, Omar Campos. But Julian Araujo is one you got to watch. He's 20 years old. So that's it. You're 100% correct, though. Tata Martino is relying on the same faces he's relied on over the last 3+ years. Crazy. And I don't know what he's doing.
Like Hector Herrera, that he's going to the MLS too. So it's like
already there.
Days like it's so hard, man. Hard. So people tell us from Group C, who should we have mentioned? Oh, yes, Inns Fernandes. Don't forget Inns Fernandes. Came to Benfica now and have high, but so high expectations for Inns Fernandes and Julian Alvarez, obviously. Go at Man City. We fully expect he can go bold. So wait,
I got one more. One more.
Yes.
One more. Sorry, I'm just interrupting you left and right. This is going to be like 6 hours long, so prepare yourself. Just kidding. Julian Alvarez is the obvious one to talk about. Enzo is obviously to talk about. But in the midfield, bags of quality. But in the midfield, a younger player that is not a Wonderkid that has started to really step up in stature in their camp is also doing so for Brighton in the Premier League. So I wouldn't be surprised if you actually see Alexis McAllister starting in some capacity, or at least platooning in some capacity in that midfield for Argentina long term. He's played 3 of the 4 last games he started, some of them being kind of late qualifiers after they've already qualified. But McAllister is really starting to kind of get used to the Premier League life and have an impact. So if we give him 4 more months and Brighton kicks on the way we think they're going to kick on, I really do think McAllister could maybe make more of a name for himself than we're giving him credit for. Because we're going to talk about Alvarez, we're going to talk about Enzo, whether we want to or not. We're going to talk about Lisandro Martinez and Cuti Romero at center back. We're going to talk about a lot of this stuff. But Alexis McAllister was like a surprising one that when I've been watching some tape of Argentina over the last several games, it's he's been pretty good. pretty good.
So people, there you go with Argentina, and that's the bold mentions. But Enzo, you're so right. We're gonna mention him a ton during the week with Benfica, man. I'm hyped about that one. So Group D now with the Wonderkids, and yes, people, do not forget to like this video if you're enjoying, so we know that you want more videos just like this. But Group D with France, Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia. And I'll start here with a player that I'm not entirely sure if he's going to the World Cup because he is selected for under-21s too, and that is Camavinga. But come on, does he deserve to be in the World Cup, man? Playing in the Champions League as a sub, okay, a lot of times, but playing in the Champions League the way he does totally deserves a call-up in the World Cup to learn and show his talents, okay, for France, that we fully believe, we're advocates of this, that France has to play the youth. It's with youngsters, okay, not Wonderkids like Nkunku as the start. Nkunku must start above Griezmann. It's disrespectful that I have to always say it because, yeah, Griezmann will get minutes, but hierarchy, it's understandable. But yes, Camavinga and Conde, okay? I don't know if Conde to Barca is done, okay? But please, cap, man. If it's done, please. But in the World Cup, whatever move he does to Barca or Chelsea, he will go bold, okay? So he will be definitely a key player for France. So, yeah.
I think it is Gerard Romero that has been throwing out the Jules Koundé to Barcelona as close to done. So
He's been right.
We'll see.
He's been right.
He has been right. He has been right. So we'll see. I would rather see him in the Premier League, but we'll see. Well, you mentioned Camavinga.
Yes.
And I'm gonna do you one better. I'm gonna say he has to be on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
He has to be on the plane to Qatar. Why? He's gonna play the same role he played for Real Madrid in the final games of the Champions. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. Put the kid on the field, let him loose.
Exactly.
All about ball security, all about mucking up the passing lanes, all about springing offenses, distributing, and all that good stuff. Throwing his body around. Let Camavinga do what he's going to do. So I'm 100% in that corner. We also obviously have to mention last year's incredible breakout star that landed, who also happens to have landed at Real Madrid, but Aurelian Schumani, who could actually be in that starting 11, right?
I agree. He should be. I think Pogba Chouameni should be the double pivot, in my opinion. Yeah. In my opinion.
Yep. So we didn't really talk about Chouameni, but Camavinga, I think, is going to be a added bonus of that 26-person roster instead of 23. So I think you're going to see Camavinga definitely on that plane. It's whether or not he plays the role I think he's going to play. But let's pop on over to my favorite team of the bunch. And unfortunately, none of these are really Wonderkid per se.
I get you.
But we know we all like Skov Olsen. He's really done well for Club Brugge. He's a big reason why they came all the way back and won the Pro League last year. We all remember when Mikkel Damsgaard stepped in for Christian Eriksen and performed so ridiculously admirably at Euro 2020. We don't know if he'll get the same role. But I think the most effective guy is not going to be, it's going to be up top. It's going to be who actually puts the ball in the back of the net. And I think if you get a hot Jonas Vind, then Denmark could be a very, very dangerous team once again if they have that same cohesion that they had at the Euros that we're all so damn fond of. And if it's not Jonas Vind, okay, I believe there's a dark horse. There's a young wonder kid that it could work his way into it. If you don't know who he is, look him up. It's Erasmus Hollands. I think that's how you say his last name. 19-year-old, has only scored a whole bunch since he got to the Austrian Bundesliga. And my guess is he will likely go alongside a guy like Benjamin Sesko at Red Bull Salzburg. He will fight for the Golden Boot in the Austrian Bundesliga this year, which ultimately will see him make a leap to some other larger league the next season. So remember the name Holland, because I think he might sneak on in the next 4 months. He might sneak onto that plane to Qatar as a backup striker, but we'll see.
Gotta be aware of a sneak of, and Breton is warning. So yeah, I'll be more than aware about this player. And the player I'm gonna shout with Denmark is Darami, that went to Ajax, the winger. I'm curious to see if he will have an impact, and too for Ajax, because we see all these new players coming in, I want to see him stepping up. And for the national team, he might have a moment in which he can do that. But on Group D, just so I don't forget, with Tunisia, we always have to mention the player that could be sideshow Bob for many, but for football fans, he could be David Luiz too. But it's Hannibal Mejri, okay? That he is a bold player, a youngster at Man United, okay? That he will get an opportunity with Erik ten Hag. I'm very curious. Or he might go out on loan. But for the national team, he will be key or involved, okay? In AFCON, he was key and involved, and he even received an award of the youngster at group stages, I think. So he will come with confidence for the national team. And yeah, he's got a chip on his shoulder with the national team, because even when he announced that he was gonna play for Tunisia, this man had a whole press conference like fire going on stage. So Hannibal Mejri is the star of Tunisia, and if they go bold, is with Mejri going bold. So yeah.
Well, Mejri's a great shout. I think it's more likely you're going to see Anis Sliman, 21-year-old that plays for Brøndby and is probably one of the stars of the Danish Superliga. I think especially against Denmark, he might actually get the start and might show out well. But Sliman's been pretty good. I'm actually a little surprised he hasn't made a bigger move, but he might like being a big fish in a smaller pond there for them. So Mejbri, Sliman, both midfielders. I 100% agree with you. The only question I got to ask you is, like, I don't even know, did you even look over Australia's roster? Because I don't know what the Aussies Wonderkids look like these days. In fact, I would argue that some of the Kiwis, some of the New Zealand Wonderkids look a whole lot more interesting, but they're not going to the World Cup. So who is this World Cups? And correct me if, or tell me if you remember this name. Who is this World Cups? Daniel Arzani for Australia.
The Celtic.
Remember that name?
He went to Celtic and all that. Man.
Yeah, City too. Yeah. He was a City Football Group player, I believe, too. And then he just, I think he tore his ACL or something happened, and he just never. But he had a few bright moments in the World Cup. He was phenomenal to watch. He was exciting. But I'll tell you what, I went all up and down. And the biggest thing I could find on the Australian national team is a player that was in Fulham's setup, just signed himself a new long-term contract, maybe not long-term, but Tyrese Francois, who plays for Fulham, but I really don't know too much about him. So between Francois and a guy named Connor Metcalf, who just made a move to the second Bundesliga, I'm at a loss.
So Australia, hopefully they go bold in the World Cup, and we all know their names afterwards, because they can make a big impression against Denmark that shocked the world, and France that are the previous winners. So everybody will be watching Australia one game at least. So yeah, I'm dying to see what's happening. So people, do not forget to like this video and put down below in Group D the Wonderkids that we haven't mentioned. And now, Group E, and I know there must be some big boy players mentioned, okay, in Group E. And Group E has Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan, okay? And I'll start with Japan. Okay, let's go. Let's start with Japan, because expect the unexpected on this, and it's Kubu, okay? That I gotta say, is this man gonna settle in a La Liga team already? I've seen Kubu go to every team. He's been in Mallorca, and now Real Sociedad? Like, what? So, So Kubu, come on, go bold in the World Cup. So you settle with the club.
I'm telling you, Real Sociedad, though, is building a team that I am going to be watching, because Takefusa Kubo, you've still got Alexander Isak, you've got Muhammad Ali Cho, you've got Jonathan Gomez, who's a Mexican-American left back. You have to watch. He's already made his friendly debut for Sociedad. He will be phenomenal. I think he'll make his La Liga debut this season. So Real Sociedad, and that's before I even mentioned their homegrown guys, under Barrenechea, and I think the other one's name is who I like, Toriante. It's a midfielder. Benas Toriante, I think is his name. But anyway, Real Sociedad getting Kubo. I hope that this is his home away from home, and he starts to kick on from here, because you're absolutely right. If he can do it in La Liga, he will do it in the World Cup, and they need it in the World Cup because yeah, Japan is they're always chock full of talent. It's just whether or not they can. I don't know.
And in this group, man, that we gotta mention, so let's go with the big boys. In the group that you have Spain and Germany, that people have to start talking about the youth of Germany. Yes, a year ago it was looking a bit problematic for the future, but right now, no can do. Okay, you got Jamal Musiala, that in my opinion might be one of the best Wonderkids to watch, definitely in the World Cup. And Florian Verts, okay? Florian Verts will be back from that ACL injury. And with the talent that he had before, I am fully sure that he will go bold in the World Cup, man. And this is a player that next summer in 2023, just like Jude Bellingham, Florian Verts can go bold. And he's expressed in the past that he likes the Barca move, okay? He likes it. But this is a player with a ton of talent, and every top club will try to get him. But definitely if he has an unbelievable World Cup. So Germany, Deichmannschaft, Florian Verts, Karim Adeyemi, Jamal Musiala, do not sleep on them in the World Cup. Nope. They can go bold. And Schlotterbeck, okay, at the back. So, yeah.
That was mine. You just took mine. Schlotterbeck. If he makes that center back position his, right, and he's going to be fighting with Rudiger, he's going to be fighting with a whole bunch of pretty solid center backs. I think like Schlotterbeck, building a rapport with Sula too. I mean, at Dortmund, it's going to be absolutely important. But you're right. I mean, I think all of us here could really cheer a Florian Verts who's stepping back onto the training field again after his injury. Cheer him on, because I would love to see him ball out. I would love to see him ball out the World Cup. But who's going to be the most important? It's probably going to be Schlotterbeck and that normal stingy German defense trying to get through what is a very, very tough group. But talking about Germany, I mean, there's another guy, David Raum, who is turned into a very, very dangerous fullback.
Hoffenheim, right?
So Hoffenheim, yep. And I kind of expected him to make a move to a bigger place, like even to maybe not Bayern, but like a Dortmund.
I did see that. I saw Bayern interest, supposedly. That could happen. Sheesh, they need options at left. That David Raum, great show, I gotta say. And come on, let's go with the Spanish Stallions, okay? And yes, just like Barca in the World Cup for Spain, Luis Enrique loves this, okay, for sure. Yeah. And we're going to have Pedri, the player that won the Best Youngster award in the Euros. Would be no surprise to anyone if he won the Best Youngster in the World Cup afterwards, okay? This is a possibility, but watching Spain, okay, Pedri's injured, but watching Spain against Portugal, I was saying Gavi, okay, is the boldest, taking hands to himself in the Spanish midfield at 17. And a youngster doing that is so impressive. And if a player does that in the World Cup, that translates to an award too, that it could be acceptable. Pedri or Gavi getting the young player of the tournament in the World Cup. And a player that I gotta say that has to be involved in the Spanish role, it's Pino. Yeremy Pino, man, that I believe after the World Cup, he will get a move, man. Definitely if he plays, okay? So a team like Liverpool would be that say, oh, that's a Spanish player that people are not talking. He's young in the World Cup. Oh, Yeremy Pino. But he's prolific, man, for Villarreal. So, I gotta say.
He is. Well, those are good shouts. I'm going to go more... Where are Spain's weak spots, and who are the youngsters that need to step up most? And I'm going to go straight like 9 winger role, right? You're going to need to get goals from their attack. Someone's going to need to finish if it's not Pedri, Gavi, or whatever, and Morata. We don't really want to put all of our chips on Morata's shoulder. And then also their defense. So another Barca kid that probably doesn't get much love because he's still learning the game. He was at City before, but Eric Garcia is going to have a role to play for Spain, whether people like it or not, in Qatar. He is. He's going to have a role to play, and it's going to be a big one because it's going to be, if that defense crumbles, they're all going to be in trouble, okay? Regardless of how good that front 6, front 7 is. On the front side, I think if you can keep Ansu Fati healthy, You can score him goals to the point where his confidence is sky high. You put him on the plane to Qatar. He's probably one of the most dangerous youngsters in the whole World Cup.
Yes.
Okay. Because he could literally do damage.
Yes.
If he gets a goal or two on the group stage, they get out of there. Watch out for those one-offs.
Man, yes, Breton, this is it. If Fati is with that confidence from Barca, scoring goals nonstop, he goes to the World Cup with like he's a hype train, man, and no one can stop that player, man. I love that Fati mention. But yes, people. Sorry, yes.
I have to, just because of my CONCACAF bias, I have to bring up Costa Rica here. Costa Rica is built on the backs of veterans, okay? It is built on the backs of veterans. They have allowed two guys, essentially, to really break their way in. One guy just signed for Nottingham Forest and then was loaned back to the Primera Division of Costa Rica. That's Brandon Aguilera. But the one I like the most, the one I think has the future that is actually going to ball out at the World Cup and provide actually some attacking verve for Costa Rica is going to be Jewison Bennett. So remember the name Jewison Bennett. I won't go into a massive scouting report because we don't have time. But Jewison Bennett will make a move at some point abroad, and he is just a great, great, great prospect. If he doesn't make a move to Europe, I 100% hope that somebody in MLS signs him up and gets him on that field and gets him moving because – well, I don't know why I'm saying this because that's strengthening one of our CONCACAF rivals. But still, the Ticos have two youngsters that I think will be on the plane, and that's Aguilera and Bennett. So we're done there.
That's to watch, people. Wonderkids from Costa Rica. Put down below, people, players that we didn't mention in Group B. And yes, people, do not forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this live and post about the youngsters in the World Cup. But now, Group F with Belgium, Canada, Morocco, and Croatia. And we all have bold thoughts in this group, okay? That we clash on this one. But I'm going to mention, okay, a player that for me, if Belgium aren't going to flop, that I believe is a possibility for Belgium to flop in this World Cup, is with a player like Charles de Ketelaere going bold. And I hope he gets it right going to AC Milan next so he can be his best version for the World Cup, okay? This is a player that technique-wise, if he was in the Premier League, everybody would be talking about him, okay? And that's why I want him in the biggest stage possible for him, AC Milan. So yeah, Charles de Ketelaere in the World Cup. And okay, Doku in the Italy game, he was he was crazy good, but Doku didn't play as much this season, okay? And Charles de Ketelaere was vital for Club Brugge. Vital.
Absolutely. So, absolutely. He's got everything, too. Size, like tight control. I mean, there's just so much to like about de Ketelaere that it's almost easy to overhype him when you see him play, but he has to make that step.
For 20 million. You got to overhype him.
That is such a steal. I mean, the Belgian Pro League, as it is such a steal when it comes to getting players for really solid prices. But Charles de Ketelaere is mine as well. But I do need to throw a shout out for Bologna center back Arthur Theet. Big center back. Started to play well in Serie A. And if we know what we know, and I've said this before, Belgium's back line is aging. You got Jason Denayer that was just let go of his, I think he was at Lyon or wherever the heck he was. He's not even really playing or has a contract yet. You've got Alderweireld that went back to Belgium. He's at Royal Antwerp now. You've got Vertonghen, who's older but still at Benfica. Right? Yeah. So I really think there's time for young blood to shine, and they've given some time to Arthur Theet. And I think he could wind up being a breakout. Or one of the reasons why Belgium doesn't get through the group stages because their defense is sieve-like, meaning they let up a lot. So Charles de Ketelaere, though, is the hands-down prospect to watch. But you're right. Got to go to Canada because their Nations League performances left me wanting more. We obviously have to talk about Alphonso Davies and Alphonso Davies being at the World Cup stage. Okay? It's very simple. Alphonso Davies is a man for these big moments. And if he doesn't shine, it's because something is not right. It's either he's injured and he's playing 50%, or something is weighing on his, say, mental health. I don't know. But but we have to remember Alphonso Davies is literally built for moments like this. He's built for moments like this. The problem here is that Canada will not get through the group stage on Alphonso Davies alone. Yes. Okay, so who is the most important player for Canada in the group stage? It's not Alphonso Davies. It is Jonathan David.
Of course.
Because Jonathan David needs to put the ball in the back of the net. He needs to finish the moves, the counters that make Canada, John Herdman's offense so damn dangerous. He needs to get that done. And we know, while he hits periods of consistency, he also hits periods of inconsistency. And if he goes into a World Cup in a period of inconsistency, I feel bad for most Canadian fans, because ultimately I believe Canada will crash out if Jonathan David is not scoring goals. There you go.
And Alphonso Davies will play at the winger, or will we have that bold debate at the left back, the best young left back in the World Cup between Alphonso Davies and Nuno Mendes? What, he's going to play on the wing?
I believe he'll play if you've got the wingers that they have, they're serviceable enough, and you mentioned one, Tajon Buchanan, I believe Alphonso Davies will do more damage from wing back, from left wing for them, and that's how he's mostly played within Herdman's setup. So I'm going to say left back.
So Nuno Mendes is about to be in the 11 of the tournament.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know.
Getting it started. No, but just so I don't forget on this front with Group F, gotta mention Guardiola. Okay, Guardiola that is shocking. We mention him always, and it's shocking. How doesn't anyone get this player? Okay, especially with every center back's on the move. You can get Guardiola for 40 and 50 million if you're pulling a stretch. He played at left back in the Euros. Left back and versatility. Arsenal paid 30 million for Zinchenko, and United paid 57 million for Lisandro Martinez. They paid for versatility. And Guardiola, for 30, 40, left back, center back, he brings versatility too, and he is a bowler. Guardiola, if Croatia goes through, it's with Guardiola being big time. So
and Guardiola dribbles better than most midfielders out there. So I mean, he's only 20. He's only 20, and he's going to be so huge for Red Bull Leipzig. But here's the thing. He started in the Euros because their normal left back was injured, right, or suspended or whatever it was, right? And they kept him in, and I remember in one of the first games that he played, he got turned around. I mean, he got dropped on one of them, and then he came back and he had a very, very good rest of the tournament. But this is what happens, right? In the Nations League recently, he was out. Guardiola was out with a thigh injury or something. He didn't make all 4 games. Okay, so they brought in, Vida and some of these other guys that are kind of long time, whatever, center back kind of stalwarts for Croatia. And they brought in a younger dude from Dinamo Zagreb. He's not that young. He's 2 years older than Guardiola, but his name is Josip Sutalo. Okay. And I probably mispronounced his name, but guess what? He played both. They got shellacked in that first game. Okay. And then the last 2 games, what did Croatia do? They won. They beat France, I believe, and they beat Denmark 1-0. They kept a clean sheet, and guess who was at center back for both of those? Josip Sutalo, 22 years old. So I'm not saying that I expect him to pip Guardiola, but I am saying that if you want a name to watch out for Croatia over the next 4 months, that is not the very obvious Josko Guardiola. It's going to be Josip Sutalo, because he deserves another look, in my opinion, for the Croatian national team as we head into this. So those friendlies, before they make the decisions, are going to be really, really huge for Sutalo.
And if my guy Rocco's watching this, man, he must be screaming on the mic saying, you got to mention him. And I will, Rocco. I will mention Lukas Susic from Red Bull Salzburg, that he... quality at his feet, can put an assist, can score a goal, and he can be instrumental too for Croatia, just like Lovro Majer, another youngster. But Lukas Susic has that world-class potential in midfield. And that is going bold the right way, people. So remember the name with Croatia, Susic.
Last one before we move on. Yes. I got to mention for Morocco, we don't have many real youngsters in that setup. Familiarity for that setup is going to be the key to whether or not they can eke their way out of this group. But I do believe they've given a little more respect and a little more confidence to the name Zakaria Abuklal, who is 22, who was brought up. He was PSV, and then he moved to AZ Alkmaar. He had almost 100 Eredivisie appearances for Alkmaar before he just made the move to newly promoted Toulouse. Him, Abuklal, at Toulouse, and how he gets on in League One is going to be key to whether or not he could, in my opinion, be anything special for Morocco. But just to make sure we name one Moroccan out there, Abuklal has had moments that has made you think, I wonder why he hasn't scored more goals than he already has. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yes, so people, with Group F, do not forget, say down below the Wonderkid that we didn't mention and the Wonderkid that you feel we should have. And yes, if you're watching until now, do not forget to like this video. And now Group G with Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and the Cameroon. And I'm going to start by saying, if Brazil are going to go bold in this World Cup, they need Vinicius Jr. to go even bolder than he goes at Real Madrid. And I believe that can happen because that Neymar link up with Vinicius, that happiness that the Brazilian core has can be translated to this World Cup. And that's why they are definitely contenders. And it all depends on how good will Vinicius Jr. be. And if Vinicius Jr. goes the boldest, there's already people saying Ballon d'Or levels. And if he has already scored in a final of a Champions League, let's see if he scores in a World Cup final too. And that would be bold, okay, at the age of 22. But he's got like 42 goal involvements last season, man. Unbelievable. And if Brazil are going to make something too, they need a good bench and Rodrigo. Okay, just like we saw in Real Madrid, he could come off the bench too for Brazil in the World Cup and score 2 goals in like a minute. So that can happen. Also, and that's what
you want to know what also baffles me, though? Is that we talk about Vinicius. I mean, these guys are Champions League winners, right? Rodrigo, we all know what role he played late on, but for 90% of the season, he was basically an afterthought, right? So it's great, but we got to see him start La Liga the way he ended UCL and La Liga last season. And it's funny because we're all in this transfer market like craziness, and amidst it all, right? That because like Antony hasn't made his big move, right? We're not really talking about Antony. And frankly, if Rodrigo can't do it and Vinicius can't do it, Antony, who when he's extremely confident is just beautiful to watch, Antony's going to have to step it up as well, or Rafinha or whatever. It really kind of comes down to, will the supporting cast be there to pick it up if Neymar falters, if Vinicius Jr. falters, and that remains to be seen.
I'd say Vinicius, Rodrigo, Antony, Martinelli, Rafinha, Gabriel Jesus if you count him as a winger. So all these players supporting Neymar to make Wegza, todos os brasileiros irem malucos, happen. That would be crazy. That would be brabo, as a lot of Brazilians would say. But we gotta mention other teams in this group. Serbia, okay, Vlahovic. I gotta say, Vlahovic, a ton of people focused on Haaland last season. Understandable. Vlahovic went to Juve too, and he can go bold for Serbia in this World Cup that many people say dark horses for Serbia, understandably so. In a team that almost every player is underrated, Serbia. Vlahovic is the leader up front, and he can go bold. Okay, so I knew you were gonna pick
Vlahovic. It's funny that Vlahovic will be there with Luka Jovic, who essentially is his replacement at Fiorentina. Be interesting how much time they get. Yeah, and Luka Jovic has actually been pretty good for Serbia, even while he barely played for Real Madrid, at least in the form of goals per game or goals per minutes played. But in my opinion, I had a feeling you were going to name Vlahovic, as you understandably should. But there is a young player that for Serbia that has become key to their defensive line. And I'm going to say Strahinja Pavlovic, who just made an $8 million euro, not dollar, move.
Same thing
from,
now.
AS Monaco. Yeah, man, that's true. It is the same thing. Well, but from AS Monaco to Red Bull Salzburg. So basically, Champions League. He's playing Champions League football, y'all. And Pavlovic is still raw. He's 21. He is massive. And he has pretty much every ability to become one of the better Serbian center backs of at least the last decade. And that's saying something. That is saying something. But he's going to have to be able to do it at the biggest level, because if you look back at their history of their fixture list and all that good stuff, he has played a pretty prominent role. So Pavlovic is going to be, I think, not as important as Vlahovic, but he's going to be incredibly important to whether or not Serbia can withstand the onslaught of a Brazil or of, the Cameroonian defense or the Cameroonian offense that is Akambe and Muting and a bunch of just great, solid attackers. Abubakar, yeah, forgot him,
He always goes bold in those matchups. And Ekambi, I think, Leon player.
Ekambi, yep.
So, yeah, that they got to be prepared. And Pavlovic, I was shocked, man. And I have to agree with you. Come on, 100%. If Red Bull Salzburg sign a player for 8 million, everybody's got to be looking like 8 million for Salzburg. They usually sell players for that fee. So, it puts an eyebrow. And I got to mention, just so I don't forget, with Switzerland, do not sleep on Okafor. Okafor at striker is a player that at any moment he can come off the bench and score that goal, man, okay? That lethal goal, header goal, lethal shot. Okafor has it, and he is a threat. So, for Switzerland, Noah Okafor is one to watch as striker, definitely.
And I got one for the indomitable Lions. For Cameroon, he's really on the come up. He's early, but it's another center back, and his name is Christopher Wu. He played for Nancy in League 2 last year, and he just made a move to Lons. Racing Lons. And I believe he's the long-term replacement for Loic Bade, who went to Stade Rennais last season. So I think if he can kick on in League 1, he's already, a lot of people are incredibly high on him in terms of just young players stepping up for Cameroon. So it really kind of comes down to the fact of whether or not he can break into that Cameroonian defense, because let's be honest, Cameroon has no chance in this group if they can't withstand the 3 attacks of Switzerland, Serbia, and Brazil. The attacks, Switzerland, they still got some soul searching to do heading into this. Right. But Serbia and Brazil, goodness gracious. Good luck, Cameroon, because your attack can't save you here. It all comes down to whether or not that defense can remain together, and then, a certain goalkeeper. Christopher Wu, remember the name. He's good. He's very good.
Put down below from Group G with Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, Cameroon, players, young Wonderkids to watch that we haven't mentioned. And Danilo do Palmeiras, okay? I don't know if he's selected, but he is bold, man. What a player he is. But if you're enjoying it, do not forget to like this video. And now, the final group and the boldest, in my opinion, okay? A bit biased. A bit. Group H, okay, here with Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea, okay? Wonderkids to watch. And yes, I will take the lead here. And Spartan, your comment of Fabio to Portugal does make sense. Can make sense, I'm sorry. But I don't know if Brennan Johnson will call out Fabio Carvalho. It all depends on how bold he goes right at the start at Liverpool. But one player is a guarantee to be at the left for Portugal in the World Cup, and it is Nuno Mendes at left back. I wouldn't be surprised, people, if he is the best left back in the tournament. I am going fully bold on this one with Nuno Mendes, man, okay? It wouldn't be surprising for me, personally, okay? But Nuno Mendes got to be the youngster. I got to shout out. And David Carmo, if we're going to call a center back, David Carmo that just went to Porto. He was called for the Nations League. I like that shout, David Carmo, left-footed. So, and fair enough. João Félix, pá, Rafa Leão. Yeah. If Rafael Leão is at the level that he is at AC Milan for Portugal, that is incredible piece for Portugal to go extremely bold in this World Cup, man. So yeah, I rate Rafa Leão in form higher than Jota maybe. So that is the piece that we need to complete it. So yeah.
Well, you just said it. You just said it at the end. Exactly what I was. The only thing I could be qualified to say about Portugal is I believe that Portugal will not go far in this tournament if it's all on the back. If it's all on the back of Ronaldo, they absolutely have to see either a Rafa Leão or a João Felix break out on this World Cup level.
We will.
And have themselves a tournament. They don't need both of them, just need one. And I think if you get one and you get another consistent threat that is not named Cristiano Ronaldo, then Portugal could do some damage. But there is one other question. You know, you've got Vitinha, you've got Fabio Vieira, you've got a pretty crowded midfield.
Yes.
Okay. Do all these guys like Mateus Nunes, who could be making a move at some point, Palhinha, do all these guys that have been making these moves, these big, high-profile moves this summer, are all of them going to be on that plane to Qatar?
A couple, one or two might not be, Breton, but I gotta say, you mentioned Vitinha, he's got to be. Yeah. Fabio Vieira that went to Arsenal, for me, he should for the quality he has. But he's got to take a big name out. And I don't know if Fernando Sancho would be ready for that. But Mateus Nunes, yes. Mateus Nunes, yes. Vitinha, yes, too. And Mateus Nunes, people, it's not a case of... He rejected Wolves because he wants to go to a Barca, to a City. He wants to go to the best teams in the world. He rejected Wolves. And so that is the mindset of Mateus Nunes. And Renato, in the Nations League, we didn't see Ruben Dias, we didn't see João Felix, and we didn't see Renato Sanches. So I fully expect to see these three players in the World Cup. And again, Rafa Leão, go the boldest you can. And I know it's not a youngster, but can still getting the number 7 at Man City, man. Getting that confidence even up with Bernardo Silva link up will help any youngster that we have. And Vitinha will not lose the ball, man, if he's got Cancel and Bernardo Silva to pass the ball after. So, yeah, I'm excited for this one. And I'm going to say Ghana. I'm going to mention Ghana here because Ghana is scaring me, man. All of a sudden, Lamptey Ghana, Eddie Nketiah Ghana, Inaki Williams Ghana, Nico is a baller, okay? Ghana. So I'm very curious, not excited. And that's an Odoi. Is it done too?
I don't know. He hasn't been announced yet that I know of, but I hear it's close.
So it's like, for me as a Portugueseman, I'm scared, okay? And we got to mention all this youth of Ghana that it can go bold, people. And if they do, we got to be ready for it. So
yeah, and there's two that you mentioned. Well, one that you mentioned that we have to talk about because I think that of those replacements, don't call them replacements, of those upgrades, I think the largest upgrade could be Tariq Lamptey at right back. Because if you look at their right backs that they've utilized over the last 2 years or so, like Andy Ayadem and I don't even know some of the others. But I think Tariq Lamptey could be the largest upgrade of that bunch that is coming in like day one, starting 11, gets this nice, you go from a 60 rating to a 75 like that. But the other guy we got to talk about is now a Sporting player, right? Because I don't know if he's going to start the season with the main team. I doubt he will.
He will. I've been watching Sporting preseason, and I can tell you, Breton, Izahaku will be important for Sporting next season. I'm telling you.
Because Izahaku started a friendly that I watched on ESPN Plus, Ghana versus Chile, a little over a month ago, and I believe he was at the 10.
I like him a lot, man. He's good.
Isahaku, like, he did not look out of place. And I'm just thinking, a year or two under Amorim, we could be seeing a really tough player. I think you're hoping that most of his development happens after this World Cup for Portugal's sake. But Isahaku is definitely at 18 years old. At 18, he's already got 12 caps for Ghana. And we haven't even talked about our winger duo that we love from FC Nordjylland. You've got Kamaldeen Sulemana, buttery on the ball when he's in form, and you've got not really a winger, more of a midfielder, center midfielder. You got Kudus Mohammed, who we haven't even seen play his best for Ajax yet. Injuries have gotten the best of him. So Ghana is chock full of players that I'm really excited to watch. The issue here is they're going to be going up against some really tough teams in Portugal and Uruguay. South Korea is tough. I don't know of any Wonderkids in South Korea except Woo Young-jung. But Uruguay, let's go, man.
Yes.
Who's your player to watch for Uruguay?
Well, I mention him always, and he fits the bill now for Wonderkids. And Uruguay, this player will get his stock much higher after the World Cup, and that is Manuel Ugarte from Sporting, okay? Mentioning Izahaku, Ugarte is another player now that for Uruguay, this is what he is. He's a midfielder that's very mobile, better than Pelinha doing that role. Why? More aggressive, better passer, and yes, I gotta say it too, he is more mobile than Pelinha. Pelinha's got long legs, but Ugarte has resilience, okay? And that's a modern day CDM. That's what clubs want. A player that can be at the back, be in the midfield, and be comfortable to go forwards. The modern day defensive midfielder. So Manuel Ugarte is just that. And after for Uruguay with this young midfield, okay? Fede Valverde and Bentancur aren't Wonderkids, but they are young. And Ugarte will learn with them too. And this is a midfield for the present and future Uruguay. They will go bold. So,
Well, Rodrigo Bentancur was one of the young stars of 2018, if I remember correctly. So Uruguay's due for another one, and in a midfield. It's just so Uruguay's been using. Is it Torreira in Ugarte's spot right now? So do you think Ugarte could take over Torreira's?
Fully, I fully believe Ugarte. In a year's time, he's seen better as Torreira. And I might say this too: Ugarte after the World Cup. For sure, seen as a player that is much better than Primera Liga stature. They'll say he's gonna go out. He's gonna leave Sporting. So he's not a wonder kid, but like Uruguay, Darwin, like Darwin, the Liverpool move. This can be a player that is fully different in the World Cup in 3 months' time. So and the funny there's two wild cards for me too. One actually plays in MLS and he's starting to heat up some, and that's Facundo Torres on the wing for them. I'm not saying he's going to go and he's going to start. But what I am saying is he could definitely work his way onto the plane, one. And two, he could wind up being a very dangerous super sub for them. But on top of that, we didn't even mention, I know he's not a Wonderkid, but Ronald Araujo. Ronald Araujo, yes. Love him.
Yeah, like what kind of World Cup is he going to have? He's either going to literally take himself to the tippy top of, Virgil van Dijk land, okay? Or he's going to see his stock.
Do you believe
cool
he can get that level? Do you believe he can get to that? Yeah, okay, good.
Well, I mean, with the physicality, there's just a lot of things that people really like about him that I'm excited to see more of this season. So I want him to stay healthy. And I don't know, it's just this whole season is going to be very weird simply because we're literally taking a break in the middle of the season for the World Cup. And then there's a transfer window, and then we're back into it. So it's kind of like, woo,
man.
What are we going to be watching?
That is true. That will be extremely exciting. And Ronald Araujo, man. I love how you mentioned the Barca player at the end here. And the way to go. And if you're here until now listening to the Wonderkids to watch in the World Cup, please, people, do not forget to like this live video so we know that you guys want more videos just like this. And do not forget to subscribe to FC Wonderkid on YouTube. And just so we see here the chat for the people that are watching live, we got here, Apanha bolas lava lado. Ugarte will shine in the Champions League group stage. I like that. I like that comment. Do you have any comments you want to see here, Breton?
No, but I think at some point in the future, you and I should do a mailbag, right, where we answer questions from all the people that are putting, because we're not really answering the chats in this because we wanted to stay on topic and not be here for 10 hours. But I love that we're able to do this. I can't believe we're only 4 months away, and it's going to go by fast. So let's enjoy all the football we can in the meantime.
Yes. Yes, so people do not forget to like